Alrighty, guys. My name is Aiden. I run a wholesaling real estate business locally here in the Tampa Bay of Florida. Um, we average around 3 to 5 deals a month, and yeah, so we run a pretty small sized operation compared to my competitors. But I would love to start sharing about my business and start giving tips to anybody else in the real estate space that would like to learn. You can always reach out to me. You can go on my Instagram, my TikTok. Always text me. I am happy to share any or answer any questions that you guys may have. That being said, today we're going to be going over the 5 pillars of acquisitions that you could be applying within your wholesale real estate business that you probably aren't. And if you aren't, you are leaving money on the table. The whole reason you are in real estate is to make money. So let's try not to leave any money on the table, and let's make sure we take every lead to the absolute finish line instead of halfway. So let's start off with the 5 pillars here. We have a cash offer, seller financing, subject to, novating, and referrals. Cash offer. If you are familiar with wholesaling real estate, you already know that when John is motivated to sell his house because of XYZ reasons, um, you give him a cash offer. If he has enough equity and he still probably makes a little bit of money in his pocket, he's going to take your offer because he needs to sell. Cash offers work with people who need to sell. That is what wholesaling real estate is built on. That is how I run my business, is on cash offers. We've done the other ones, but cash offers are always going to be the best. And those are typically the situation you're going to find yourself in. So John needs to sell his house on 123 Main Street. It's worth 330K fixed up. It needs 100K in repairs. He owes like 80 grand on it. You offer John 150 grand. He's like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. I need to sell this thing fast. I'll put 50 grand, or I already forgot the numbers I said, but 50, 60, 70 grand in my pocket. You guys can take the house, do all the work. I'll move on with my life. And because I'm motivated to sell, because it was my parents' house, they died, or it's in foreclosure, I'm going to lose the house, money in my pocket, or lose it. This is the offer you give to John. That's cash. We cover the closing costs fast, and then assign it over to a real cash buyer and make 10, 20, 30, $40,000 in between. However much money you can dig out of a cash buyer, that's typically what wholesaling real estate revolves around. So that's your cash offer. Seller financing would be if John wants to sell his property. He's not overly motivated, or he is motivated, but he wants to dodge capital gains. Maybe he's a landlord and he wants to sell on payments to avoid capital gains purposes. Whatever the case may be, this is when there is high equity. Unless if there is an underlying mortgage, you could wrap the note, so there could be 2 notes. The underlying mortgage, the mortgage between you and the seller, and then now you have the deed. Typically, that never happens unless they have a great mortgage to begin with. But in today's world, unfortunately, with today's 6% interest rates, we don't really see that. This is when John's house is in okay, mid, shit condition, whatever the case may be. Most of the time, it's when it's in good condition. And he wants to sell his property, but he knows what it's worth. He knows what he can get for it, and he's not willing to take your lowball 60% of ARV cash offer. So if it's worth 400 grand, he's not going to accept your $240,000 cash offer, but he would probably list it for 380. Right? This is when you say, "Hey, John, look, if you're not willing to take my cash offer, I still like the property. I still want to buy it from you. How about I give you 25K down instead of paying you 380? I'll pay you 400 grand. You're paying John an extra 20 grand more. His ears are perked up, right? Seller hears money, ears are perked up. John, I'll pay you 400 grand. I'll give you 25K down. You can hold a note on this thing over the course of 8 years, and then when 8 years hits, I'll balloon you. I'll go to the bank and I'll refinance you out." John likes the sound of that. He likes the sound of getting money each month, especially when they're a landlord, right? So let's say there's a tenant in there paying monthly and they own it free and clear. Now they don't have to deal the seller doesn't have to deal with the liability of the property, any risk, anything involved. They get X amount a month. They don't have to fucking think about the property. The deed's out of their name. They just collect their check, and then once year 8 hits, you refi them and they get a big check. It works great for tired landlords. I actually just got one under contract today because of that, and it works great for on the market, whatever the scenario So again, when this is appropriate is when there's high equity, but they know they're going to get a certain price for the property. That's when you offer them, hey, would you be willing to hold a note? And then I can pay you this amount monthly. You don't have to deal with any of the liability of the property. It's out of your name. You are now the lender. We like seller financing because you can get some great interest rates. I got one today tied up under contracts, 2% interest rate, $800 a month. You can't find a property, you can't find a house anywhere in Florida that you can get a mortgage on for $800 a month unless it's a total piece of shit. This thing is nice. It is nice. It is a block, 4 bedroom, 2 bath house, 3,000 square feet. The whole 9 yards. It's great. Great, great, great. That is a no-brainer deal. When you get deals like that, as the wholesaler, you need to contemplate what your exit strategy is. If you're going to assign it, if you're going to buy it. Seller financing is a great way to get notes that regular banks will not give to you. You can only get a 2% interest rate at the Bank of John, so you can't get that at the Bank of America. So those are those two pillars. We use those frequently. Subject to is a bit of a tricky one. So subject to only works when they're fucking motivated. They need to sell the property, or it's been sitting on the market for like 700 fucking days. Clearly no one wants to buy it. They're just paying for it. When they need to sell it, subject to works. Subject to essentially means they have no equity in place, and but they have an amazing loan. They have a 3% interest Penny Mac loan from 2021, and the ARV is 330, and they owe 280. Right? You can't pay them 300 cash because that you're not going to be able to find a buyer for that. That's not a deal. And you can't do seller financing because they already have an underlying mortgage that's not attractive enough to where you could slap another one on top and make some sort of return on investment. But what you can do is be held subject to their debt. So you're like, hey, Mr. Seller, look, you keep the loan in your name. I will catch up whatever missed payments you have if they're in pre-foreclosure, or I will, put $15,000 in your pocket. I will just be held subject to your debt, meaning the loan will stay in your name, property comes to my name. We'll put it in a land trust so it bypasses the due on sale clause at title, and then I will continue to pay your mortgage down each month, and then 8 years rolls around, and then I'll do a balloon payment and I'll refi you out. That is another creative option. We're not going to dive too deep into subject to, because if you don't understand wholesaling real estate, this is a topic that makes no sense to you. But I would go do some research. Richard Taylor with Hold My Hand Wholesale will explain this to you like bread and butter. Novating. I've actually never done a novation. I've pitched them and none of them have gotten accepted. I've gotten this close to one, but you can't win them all. Novation is essentially when the house is in great shape, and they're looking to sell it at a discount, but not discounted enough to where it's cash, right? So the house is worth 200 grand. You offered them 100. They said no. They'll do 150. They'll do 140. You can't pay them 140, but it's in great shape. So you're like, all right, yeah, Mr. Seller, I can't pay you 140, but I can shop this around to my other buyers, or I can see if I can get you approved for the special program we have called our equity protection program. And we don't really approve anybody for it, but if you get approved, we might be able to get you the higher figures and protect the equity you have in the home, so you get the most bang for your buck. If I can get you 140, how does that sound? It sounds good. Cool. Then you explain to them that you're not the one buying it. You're actually shopping it out to all of your vetted and trusted buyers. You don't know who's buying it. You're putting it on the market for a flat fee listing, and you're hoping a retail buyer comes in with a conventional loan that makes you an offer, and everybody gets paid. You can make some big ass spreads on novations, but they are definitely a different ballpark. And then last but not least, my favorite source. Not my favorite. No. I'm sorry. I take that back. My referrals. All right. This is when you can't do shit with any of these. They won't take a cash offer. Seller financing doesn't make sense. Subject to doesn't make sense. Novating it doesn't make sense. These are the people that are like, I'm getting retail from my property and I'm going to list it. This is when you tell them, you're like, okay, that sounds great. You know what? I really think getting retail for your property is going to be the best move for you, Mr. Seller. I want what's best for you. I want you to get the most money you possibly can for your property. So yeah, I want you to get the most money you can for your property, Mr. Seller. But to do that, you need a realtor who can list it and sell it. You don't need a realtor who can just list it. You need a realtor who can sell it. Do you have a realtor in place for that? You can even Giuliano Massarelli them. You could say, "Do you have a realtor in place for that?" They're gonna be like, yeah, but it's a family friend, yada yada." You could be like, "Look, I have a great agent who does 5 to 10 listings a month. I would be happy to give you her information. She could walk you through how she could get this thing flown off the shelf on the market for you. And at least I could help you one somehow. If I can't buy it from you, that's totally okay. I think you should list it. List it. Don't be the wholesaler who's like, no, don't list it. Realtor commissions, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to fucking listen to you. Save some breath. Quit being an idiot and trying to beg someone to sell their property for a discounted cash offer, which every wholesaler does, by the way. This is why my team is, I'm not trying to blow or, brag, but, we look at every exit strategy possible to make money. When you see a lead is not going to take your cash offer, do not cling on it. But don't throw it away because you might have something there. Hit them with that realtor pitch. Then they'll say, yeah, send me their info. You're not going to send them their info because they're never going to call your realtor. But what you will do is you'll call your realtor and you'll be like, hey, look, I just got this new lead. They want to sell it. They want to put it on the market for yada, 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 yada reasons for X amount. Call them. You have your realtor sign a referral agreement that states you get 25% of the commission if they get the listing. And then you let the realtor work their magic. You don't even think about the lead. You put a task in your CRM 6 months down the road, not 6 months, but like a month down the road to see if your realtor got it agreed. And then the next thing you know, you got a live listing that you're getting 25% of that you'll never have to see, think about, or do anything about. We have 3 of these live right now. No, we have 2 of these live. We have 2 of these listings live that we are going to get 25% of, and we're never going to have to think about the lead ever again. The realtor handles all of it. We get 25%. So let's say it's a $500,000 house. Uh, let's say they get 5%. 5%. Five. Oh, just is terrible, bro. What is that? Is that $5,000? That can't be right. Hold on, guys. 5%. 500,000. Can't believe I don't know this. All right, 25K. Your realtor is gonna make 25K. What's 25% of 5K? Of 25K. 100% of $25,000. All right, that's $6,250. You didn't do anything but just be on the phone with that lead and say, look, I have a great realtor for you. You just made $6,000. You did nothing, bro. You literally did nothing. These are out there. I have 2 of them live right now. The whole premise of this video is to say, do not throw a lead away because you could throw it away and someone else more creative could call that lead and make some money off of it. Remember, the whole reason we're wholesaling real estate is to make money, and we want to keep every exit strategy open. So that's my video for you guys. Now for realtor referrals as well, you make sure you have a good relationship with a realtor. But yeah, that's my video, guys. I hope I gave you guys some value and some help, and I will probably post a few videos about the business here and there. But other than that, I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you guys for watching, and if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out. Bye-bye.